Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry for the delay and any confusion. I often get kicked out. You see Sabrina's beautiful face. I often get kicked out when I'm trying to stream live from Zoom onto the Facebook page, and it's kicked me out a couple of times, kicked me off. And it has nothing to do with my internet. So it's just one of those technical glitches, I suppose. So here we are. Welcome back to this week's Everything Horses and More live podcast with me, your host, Caroline Best of the Tao of Horsemanship. And to my left is my lovely co-host, Sabrina Arbogast. Yay! So here we are. All right. Oops, let me pick up my paper. So, wow, we have got some really awesome topics for this week, and we keep tweaking our format and getting better and better. And thanks to you all, we may not get a lot of comments during the podcasts all the time, but I certainly am getting great feedback via email from some of you. So, and you guys are pretty happy with what's going on. So it's just giving me more insight and ideas for how to structure these podcasts. So as you all know, or for those of you that are new, our podcast is called Everything Horses and More, because we talk about each week a holistic approach to horse care, handling, training, and riding is one. And when I say riding is one, that's my own. I've been doing those clinics and teaching this way for a long time. And riding is one means riding with mind, riding with the body and movement with your horse as one, and in rhythm, and riding in the heart connection. So mind, body, and soul, truly. And that's what I teach. So we not only talk about everything of horses, and specifically the holistic approach to horses and life, which means we deal with all four aspects of well-being, all four aspects of a being, both us and the horse. So well-being, the four aspects to holism are the emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual aspects. Okie dokie. So the more part, that's where it just goes on and on. It's infinite, like a black hole. Right, Sabrina? We get talking and it's like, oh my gosh. So we bring up everything possible related to our mindset here and the way that we teach and work and develop. So it's just huge. The more part is we talk about living consciously, enlightenment, transcending. I mean, we talk about personal development, to trauma, to we break down training and some of the most common. I'm such a myth buster and debunker. So there's like so much bullshit out there, total propaganda in horse training. And actually I'm going to bring up one today that's a new buzz in the equine world of training. It seems that, I don't know how many of you receive on your Facebook feed page, how many of you receive, I know I'm out there too every month, but and we'll be out there a lot more soon, but receive the sponsored ads from equine trainers. And right now I'm on there usually almost 10 days every month, because we're always promoting the Mastery Membership Program. We'll soon be on there all the time for the other courses. Yeah, but you know, you're seeing a lot more trainers out there promoting their work. Yes. And promoting it on Facebook, through social media. I think it's wonderful in a lot of ways. I think it's phenomenal. And especially, and of course, all these ads are targeted to the audience. So, you know, I'm seeing on my news feed similar training approaches to my own. But I'm also going to be the one who's going to be able to compare and contrast what makes my method work so well on so many levels. And that's where I'll get into that a little bit today, comparing and contrasting. So for Everything Horses and More podcast, our new structure is we're going to talk a little bit about last week's podcast. For those of you that missed it, you can always find the podcasts on Buzzsprout. And Sabrina, you're more versed and knowledgeable with the different
podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many, guys. Apple, you can find on Spotify, Google. Just
and all you
so
have to do,
many
all you have to do is, like, we downloaded the app on our phones,
Yes.
and you just have to type in Everything Horses and More, and then it'll come up, and then you guys can bookmark that, and then you'll be alerted of every week we have new podcasts, and we just reached 2,000.
Yes,
It's exciting.
Thanks.
And yeah, I mean, how long we've been doing this? Since March, I think.
I was going to say March.
March, April, May, June. So we've been doing a good 4 months. So that's pretty exciting.
I think so.
I mean, that's like 250 downloads a week.
Gosh, guys.
Am I right? No, not a week. That would be 250 a month. Sorry, if it was a week, that'd be huge.
Oh my gosh.
Me and math. So I think it's a month, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Don't ask me with the math. But anyway, it's pretty good. I'm looking forward to getting to 10,000. That's like going to be really exciting. So we're going to talk a little bit about last week's podcast. Then we're going to introduce this coming Friday's free video, as well as the new video for the video library. And then we're going to have, for our third topic, our open discussion, our open topic. And for Sabrina, she never knows what the hell we're going to talk about usually. So now it's going to be a little more structured, but every week I'm like creatively writing and inspired. And I'm like, oh my God, let's talk about this week.
Well, it's funny because first we were supposed to talk about this, and then I come in and she's like, oh, totally something different.
I know.
I'm like, okay.
I know. We'll save that for next time.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm always about connecting the dots. And then the fourth topic is usually going to be about one of our courses and how specifically the work that we're producing here can help you all. I don't know how many of you guys, we're redoing the website. I'm so excited. I mean, this is the big year to pull all of our content together. We have so much content, and that's where I'm headed with this. I don't know of anyone in my industry, the equine industry, as a professional trainer and instructor, that has as much content as I do. And, I know Warwick Schiller might have, I don't know, 500, 600, 800 videos in his video library collection, but I'm talking about courses, personal courses, not to mention my own video library, my own YouTube channel. Now we're on podcasts so that I can talk about my life's journey and all the things I've been learning and collecting and developing since I was a teenager. I've been engrossed in self-improvement. And so I bring a whole lifetime of all of these things, not to mention I've been with horses more focused when I got back into horses in my late 30s and developed this method. So I was more focused, bringing all of these components and pieces of my life's journey and learning. And so, I get so many questions when we do these webinars for the Mastery membership, and we get people from all over the world that join. And, one of the common questions is, or I don't even know if it's a question, it's feedback that I get. People, they're absolutely not sure or convinced that I could solve all of their problems.
Yeah.
And for those of you that know me and are students of mine, and you're, on the Mastery membership, and often our students join in on our podcast during the week, you're in our weekly webinars. I mean, we have these conversations, we dive in deep, and a typical video training lesson for you and your horse also becomes a life lesson. And it becomes a very personal journey of self-discovery, self-improvement, and it's just huge. I don't know anybody in my field, I mean, definitely older than me. There might be one person, because everyone that I've really admired in my field is gone. They're dead.
Yeah.
So I don't really have that many. I might admire some trainers that I've worked with for different things, but collectively for their knowledge, and I mean collectively, because it's a personal thing, and it's, about horsemanship. There might be only one person. Everybody else is gone. They passed away. So there's not a lot of people out there in my book that really, and this has been my life's passion. This has been my purpose, though, to give this, because when I came back into horses, this was so missing. And when I was spending the tens of thousands of dollars to study other masters that are still currently out there, I was very disappointed, to say the least. And I'm not saying that some of them they're not masters. They're just not going to give you that level of information. It's like they want to keep, and I can appreciate it to a point, but they want to keep reeling you back in, so you keep spending the money. One of the things for me, when I developed the Mastery Membership Program, and right now it is a self-paced self-study program, it's not a guided program. That will be the apprenticeship certification that so many people are asking about, that we've got to develop. But it'll be a self-guided, it'll be a guided, the apprenticeship program, just like it used to be on site with me. Now we're making it long distance.
Which I think is awesome.
Yeah. Well, it is the Mastery Membership Program. That's the first phase, but I've got to add all of the other pieces to make it a weekly guided. But anyway, I'm gonna like it a lot better than the way it used to be, for sure, for so many reasons. But just getting back to, my purpose for it was, the cost is definitely higher than most of the other programs out there, but I don't think people realize that it's a foundation program. And when I say foundation, it encompasses so many areas of personal development and developing your horse, all the areas that are important to me. But hold on, they should be important to you, because it encompasses everything from the ground to riding. It's not just a Liberty Foundation program or course. It's not just a riding course. It's not a course that's 8 weeks long. You can't develop a foundation in 8 weeks, people. There's no way. A foundation includes knowledge of principles, educating yourself, concepts, theory, turning them into practice, figuring them out, experimenting with them, exploring them, learning how to diagnose and problem solve. And during this whole process, with my method, you're learning about yourself, because the horse is definitely a teacher and a guide and a mirror. And it's just an amazing journey, as my students, express all the time. Sometimes difficult. You don't always like what you see in your horse. You don't always like what you see in yourself. But life isn't easy. And if you are really looking for the truth, and you've got to take the time, you've got to spend the time to find it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you. So, I keep driving that home, because I keep seeing all of these other competitors of mine in this industry, so to speak, and they're all, again, throwing these buzzwords at you guys. And I'm not just out here competing to prove that my training and philosophy is the best because I believe in it. Yeah, but I want to realistically, factually prove that as well. And I think so often, as I've mentioned in a lot of debunking videos on YouTube, we get so misguided because there's so much information out there. You don't know, I'm overwhelmed, and I'm overwhelmed when I'm looking at all these trainers popping up in my newsfeed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm like, holy cow, wow, this sounds great, but I know a lot. So I investigate and I start looking at the content, and I'm like, really, this is really shallow. And that's what I see so often, is that, so much of the work is just skimming the surface. It's superficial. And I know everybody's using the buzzwords like science-based behavioral training and the relationship and bonding and connection.
Yeah, hear that
And
so much.
oh my God, but what the hell does it really mean? And how does it show up? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in this podcast, because I'm seeing a lot of it. And I want to be out there to differentiate and to tell you guys, be careful. Just be careful. Okay. Take your time to look at all the different trainers out there and kind of compare and contrast. And I don't just mean actions speak louder than words, people, period, always in life. So don't get seduced by someone's pretty copy or saying the right thing to you because you're frustrated and you feel really vulnerable right now. And, you want it and you're hungry, whatever it is with your horse. Take the time to watch these people on YouTube. And even when you watch all of us on YouTube, you only know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. And that goes back to training your eye and your lens. And that's for all of us, obviously me included. We know only what our experience has given us and shown us. So if you have no experience with being spiritually minded, but you're attracted to what you see in my videos between me and my horses, but then you're kind of going around and seeing other trainers love on their horses and their horses look happy. But if you don't have a lot of experience at that level, then you're only going to see what you're able to see. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
It's not a put down. It's not a criticism. It's just a real awareness and understanding.
How we are.
Yeah.
Human beings are.
So my biggest, and I did this when I was coming back into horses. So I'm always a student, but I was what's the word I want to say? I was coming back into horsemanship in my mid to late 30s and brand new to natural horsemanship and it was very exciting. And I definitely took my time. I took 2 years to study many different people and disciplines, you guys. And when I really liked something, I was constantly comparing and contrasting. And I didn't just stop there. Because I was constantly learning and taking lessons and studying, I was sharpening my skills and both my eyes and what I was seeing and understanding, and also my technical skills. And then of course, the third would be more of the somatic, what I felt. And that was so important to me. So all of that coming together really helped produce who I am today. So I'm just putting that out there as a reflection, perhaps some insight, because, if I'm in this industry as a professional, and if I'm getting overwhelmed with all the stuff going on, I can only imagine, and I get some feedback from you all. I don't know who, or I've tried this, I've tried that because it was cheaper and I really liked this person, but it just wasn't the same. It just wasn't enough. And I get people like that all the time. I get reoccurring clients, and that was one of them that I was talking to you about this morning, but I didn't get in depth.
Right.
Someone that's been following me on YouTube for years, and then went somewhere else and studied with someone else, but just more than someone, many people, but just couldn't. It's just not clicking. And now that they've had that education and they've trained their eye and their skills, and they know more, they want more. And now they're coming back to me. And as she put it in her email this morning, she's ready. She's like, I'm ready to dive in and go for it, Caroline, and do the intense learning that my courses, especially my mastery membership, offer. I mean, it's a life-changing experience. It's a game changer. Absolutely. For sure.
No, I totally agree.
Well, you're in it. You're here every day. So, you're in it, girl. Yes. You're in the emails, you're videotaping, you are in it. Listening to me.
So I can tell y'all.
I'm paying her on the table to say that. No, it's all good. All right. So last week's podcast, we just started a short series on YouTube that's going to become a short course. And it's called Common Mistakes Beginner Riders Make. So we are going to continue to offer For every lengthy full version training video, we're going to produce a snippet of it for YouTube that will give you some free tips, but the longer version has been included in our video library, but then we're going to stop and we're going to keep the long versions for the new series, but we're going to keep giving you the tips, little snippets on YouTube. And there's a ton. I mean, I think I have 25 and we've only gotten to video number 4. I mean, 25 is nothing. I could go to 100 probably. So I don't know when the series is going to be ready, but that's where I'm headed with this conversation. Is last week we were on part 3, and where should my leg be when riding? And we've gotten some really awesome comments about that. You know, thank you for making us shorter, because God knows I go on and ramble. There's just so much to talk about, so much to connect. And
from the heart.
It is, I know.
From the heart.
I know, but it can be over facing, as we know. So last podcast, so you can go to YouTube and see a snippet of it, or you can join the video library for a cheap monthly subscription, $24.99, hundreds of random training videos of mine, and a few short courses. So that was last week's video. And then we talked about our big heavy topic was conscious living. And I just touched on it last week. I'm not going to get into all the other areas, like emotional agility. That's going to be another podcast, but both on a personal level, emotional agility, and also on our horses. This is like number 1 for me. And I have it in so many of my videos. That's how it's the key word for me. It's my own word. And I don't know if psychologists use it. I've seen it written over the years for human behavior and psychology. I have not heard it. Maybe that's where I adopted the word, because I'm always studying human psychology, not horse psychology. That's a topic we're going to be talking about today, because so much of the research still today on equine emotions, behavior, and psychology is so, and this is just according to me and my experience, as a learner, student of the horse, and professional trainer and developer of horses. Oh my God, we're just scraping the surface with equine emotions, behavior, nature, and psychology. Meaning we just skim the surface talking about it. And I mean, I'm always on research. I have like flooded my brain with research this week. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of that, but it just blows my mind. Mm-hmm. But anyway, conscious living or intentional living is what we were talking about last week. And it's, you know, every time we bring up these, how do we want to frame it or phrase it, these woo-woo-y or intangible or esoteric or enlightened personal self-improvement topics, whatever you want to put out there, they always come back to the horsemanship. It's always, to me, it's a juxtaposition or a duality. You know, it's like everything I bring up, I do it with purpose, because I can totally relate it to my personal journey with horses and what I teach, and my students can say the same. So meaning, you know, intentional living means we live with clear intention, focus, and purpose. And this is a mindset that develops through conscious practice. Conscious practice.
Not easy.
No, because you have to be aware and you have to be present. Yeah. And aren't those some of the qualities that we want to have around our horses?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Especially when we want a more enlightened, conscious, mindful relationship with our horse.
Yeah. And you gotta let go of things. That's not easy.
Oh, girl.
But that's another subject.
That's our emotional agility. Oh, we're gonna next week we're gonna bring that up.
Oh boy.
Because I know you'll have a lot to say about that
boy.
After your couple of days off last week, your vacation.
I would have a story about what happened today, but that's for next week. Something really cool happened, but I'll tell you.
Save it, because emotional agility is on next week. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's really
Give us
cool.
a little teaser.
I was outside feeding my horses, and something out of the woods came walking out.
Oh God, you're giving me chills.
That most of you probably would not guess what it was. It had never happened to me before. Never. It's really weird. I'll tell you later.
Was it real?
Yeah, of course it was real. I don't think that something fake would come.
I mean, a ghost,
Oh,
a spirit. No, you're creeping me out.
No, it was something real. So yeah.
A panther?
No. Gosh,
Horses would go through the fence.
yeah. No. Do you want me to tell you?
Just tell us what it was, or no? Wait, who's listening? Does anybody want to know what it was, or do you want us to wait? But how does that have to scare you? Just don't tell me what it was, but why does that have to do with emotional agility?
Because of what it portrays, what the we always look to spirit.
The totem animal. The totem animal.
Yeah, that's what.
So it was an animal.
Yes, it was an animal.
Okay, just leave it at that. So next week we'll hear about what kind of animal came out of the woods that gave her tremendous symbolic spiritual significance, which is the totem animal.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll say that for next week. But then from talking about emotional agility, it had something to do with your,
because of what we are going through.
Yes.
In your your work. I've grew so much.
Does that have something to do with you coming back from your time with your mom?
It's not bad though, because how I handled it.
Yes.
And how I
I can't wait. We got to add this. Oh my God.
It was really,
this is perfect. This is for next week.
yeah.
So for anybody that like all of us that struggles with healing and restoring and pain and trauma and family dynamics and relationships, stay tuned for next week's podcast. Yeah. Because I'm actually going to bring up some up. Yeah. Oh, this is so good. Okay. So that's conscious living. Oh my gosh, living through conscious practice. And we could use an example of that. There's many, but we could just use meditation, meditative practice. There's a conscious living there. And when we are feeling, anxious or panic attack or, angry or any kind of emotion that is sidetracking us, what can we do consciously? What can we practice to help us feel better? So that's part of last week's conversation. All right, so this week's video, again, we're dealing with the Common Mistakes Beginner Riders Make series. So this week we are, everything in my life, and especially with horses, is like a connecting the dots. It's a building. So last week we talked about leg position, and this Friday, we're going to talk about the foot position. And so we'll just keep moving forward.
This Friday is how you sit in the seat correctly.
Oh, thank you. Last Friday was the foot.
The first one was the leg.
Oh, thank you, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so last week was the foot. Ooh, thank you.
Of course.
Let me get that right. And this week, it's going to be our seat position, how we sit in the saddle and how we feel the centered seat. Excellent. Got it. So look for that on YouTube. Please subscribe. And then for all of you that want to see the full version, that's in the video library. And then sometime later this year, we'll have the series ready. All right. So let's move on to our next topic with horse training. And I've already kind of talked a little bit about this. The new buzzword in training is, I'm seeing a lot of this, science-based training or behavioral science, which most of the time, I'd say 95% of the time that I've seen this promoted with other trainers, it includes treat rewards as positive reinforcement. So I want to talk all about this. And my methodology to developing horses, not just training them. I don't even like to use that word anymore, but developing, working with a horse. How about working with them, not against them, and developing them holistically? And while this sounds esoteric, I factually can prove it. I factually do it. You factually learn it. It's very tangible. and it is amazing. And as I mention almost in every podcast, I'm a working equitation instructor. My horses all have, every horse that's ever come to me has learned a strong dressage foundation, not necessarily the step-by-step training pyramid, because I don't agree exactly with the way the pyramid is set up. I don't care if it's German or French or Spanish or whatever, but I do totally 150% agree with foundation and building blocks and developing the horse holistically and taking the time to get to know the horse, so that when the horse goes through the training system and learns the same things that all the other horses do, that we understand how that horse needs to learn. And so again, one of the big myths out there, and it's a bullshit myth, I'm going to bust that right now, is programs for horses. Now, unfortunately, a lot of backyard trainers and novice, unexperienced, ignorant, and or abusive trainers, they will put horses through, to this day, the same training program or system, and they don't give a shit how the horse feels. And they don't make the horses, they break the horses. And so there is some truth to that, and there is some old history assigned to that knowledge, meaning, and you can find it in any discipline, and it's been going on for hundreds of years, you guys. It doesn't matter if it's American, cowboy, Western, reining, and reining especially, holy shit. It's going to be done this way. My daddy did it. My papa did it. My granddaddy did it. We were winning. We ain't going to change. I don't give a shit if the horse doesn't make it. We break it and we get rid of it. Okay, that's in every discipline. So it has tainted the word program or training system. I understand that. But there is a whole nother side to that too. When you are studying and you're a student, like I've been talking about, and taking the time for months or years to acquire knowledge, both mental knowledge, reading and watching and observing, not just the physical, technical knowledge, but the mental knowledge is so important in comparing and contrasting and looking for patterns and good reviews and bad reviews, so to speak. So the beauty of a program is huge. It's a guide, number one. If it's done correctly, your training system is a step-by-step guide. And then the second layer of that is, it's not just a guide, it's a building. It has building blocks, meaning you can't just jump around or you'll have holes in your foundation. So it gives you specific building blocks, not just technical skill building blocks for you and the horse, but it gives you theory, principles, allows you to apply that and practice it and experiment, as I said earlier. And there's nothing wrong with following a training system. There shouldn't be. We all do when we go to school. And horses are so intelligent. And when they're open, confident learners, they absorb everything very quickly and they never forget, you guys, never forget. So when we have challenges in our training and inconsistencies, like you're learning, so let's say something. Let's use a real good compare and contrast. Let's take a new student to my training program, the Mastery Membership, and let's take me at my level. Now I know my work. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't in this example. The point I'm making is I'm going to be able to go in with a brand new horse, let's say a young horse that's not tainted, doesn't have any negative experiences, and is fresh and open and ready to learn. I can make a change each day, and each day I can build on that because the horse is open, they're quick learners, and they have no negative experiences or trigger points. But for you as a new student of the work and a new student of the horse, most of your inconsistencies come down to you learning and how you're learning. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is only to just show you how intelligent horses are when they are open, confident learners only. And very rarely do we see that. Very rarely. That's the other biggest problem out there is when you're signing up for someone's program or course, they've got to talk like this, because 99% of you have damaged horses on some level or another.
Yeah.
And they may be great at X, Y, and Z, but then they're absolutely a Fruit Loop with ABC. So it shouldn't be that way. You want a well-rounded horse. That's why I have a program and a training system, because it not only develops the horse holistically, but it develops them through all the areas that I want to enjoy them with. You know, I want to enjoy the liberty with grooming, the liberty with bathing, the liberty with going out to work together and tack up, the liberty play, the biomechanics and lunging, the riding, the trail riding, the obstacle courses, the finesse of the upper level work and developing the horse. How about cow work? I love ranch work. Been years since I've done that. So there's just so much, right? Mm-hmm. And so, not to mention, you know, and specifically with my work, I'm talking about while you're developing your horse and learning how to learn your horse and work with your horse, develop your horse, you're also developing yourself. There's so much personal development that goes into it, and it just happens organically. It's not anything that I've set up on purpose, that is a guide to self-improvement. It just happens. Ask my students, it just happens. So let's get back to science-based training. My method is also common sense, science-based, because I do so much research on brain and nervous, limbic, somatic, brain, hippocampus. I mean, I write articles on this stuff. I'm a trauma expert, so I know a lot about how the human brain works, and very similarly how the equine brain works, because I've been studying this for years, you guys, and it's just amazing. So science-based training, a lot of positive reinforcement trainers now are using this science-based or behavioral science language. And I think it's because they want to really make sure that they differentiate themselves from just this it's like one extreme or the other, this too gentle, woo-woo-y, lovey horsemanship where you really don't get very far. Meaning you really don't create a lot of safety with your horse. And at that level, the relationship is only going to take you so far, not to mention there's not a whole lot of technique or advanced horsemanship that happens at that extreme. And then you've got these real hardcore technical mechanical trainers that are very science-based and behavioral-based. And to me, they are extremely arrogant, and they think because they cognitively, cerebrally have read about all of this or studied under someone that they really get it. And to me, they don't get it. You get it only to a certain level and a certain layer. And it's so exclusive, it drives me crazy. It's one of the reasons why I love the word holism and holistic, because it is an inclusive way of thinking, being, and approaching life. Inclusive, meaning we include everything. We don't exclude anyone. And so also we come back to positive reinforcement. And what is up with all this clicker training and treat training that I see just exploding? And then the people that are attracted to my work are also exploding with emails like, Caroline, what do you think about this? Because I know you don't use treats to train or to reward or to bribe or to make. No, yeah. The only time, and my horses get apples, carrots, you can just say natural treats all the time. I tell you guys that in so many of my videos, but they get it randomly. They never get it as a food, as a reward for behavior. And the big reason why is because it's superficial. And it's no different than voice commands or clicker training or training with treats. When you really understand and there's not, unfortunately, there still is not a lot of good research out there on the equine, like I said earlier, emotions, behavior, everything is so black and white and standardized. And that is not the way I've come to learn horses. it's not the way I relate to my horses or see the depth of the dynamics and the socializing and the relationship that my horses have and the level of communication and the way they work as a herd. I mean, it's so limited, it just irritates the hell out of me. I'm just glad that podcasts are now a big thing because it saves my arthritis from writing and trying to produce articles.
But you still write a lot.
Yeah, I still write a lot. I know, I still archive a ton. But I think the point where I'm headed with all of this is there's a lot to talk about. And to me, it comes back to levels of consciousness and awareness, and the saying that I say all the time, you only know what you know, you don't know what you don't know. So we all get stuck and comfortable with what we know. And so also it comes down to shortcuts to me. And that's what I think clicker training is all about. Voice commands, anything that doesn't involve a deeper connection with the horse.
Because they don't really want to be with you. They want to be with you because you got food.
And I don't care. One of the recent videos out there was like, well, then it's how you train your horse. You have to train them, like you do your dog. And I agree with that. It's all about your horse's manners. But that's still not the point, though. The point is if food is such a high hierarchy of need, instinctive, it's one of those hierarchy of needs, but it's not number one, like some people purport. Some of the research out there, to me, they bastardize the intelligence, the emotional intelligence and social intelligence of the horse by saying, oh, food is the number one motivator for horses. No, it's not, guys. Food is the number one motivator for dogs, for predators, not a prey species. And when you just look at connect the dots with the research, the little research that's out there, horses are prey. We understand that. What keeps them, their first hierarchy of need is safety. And it's not just about safety in numbers. That's part of it in a wild herd. And it's a reality. It's a fact. But it's an emotional level of safety and comfort. Those are the hierarchy of needs. Then food, and then they play or they rest and lie down. They're not going to lower their heads to eat or lie down or get distracted with play unless they feel safe, both physically and emotionally. And we see this with our domesticated herds, how everything gets screwed up when the horse has anxiety and the horse isn't well balanced. So the point I'm making about the level of emotional security for horses, especially wild horses too, is that they have a nervous system. And so what happens is, that's why food is not number one. Food is not number one, okay? It is emotional. And this traces back to the hippocampus area in the brain. It traces back to the limbic system in the brain. It traces back to the chemicals released. It traces back to the nervous system. And the very little bit of research, and most of this I have on my website. I've collected these articles as I've been researching. The nervous system of the horse, that's this frequency, the energy component of my work, why it works with horses, because it is the language of Equus. So in wild horses, when they're all at ease and grazing and peaceful and feel safe, if the lead horse that they look up to and trust, if the lead horse is alerted of something, doesn't necessarily mean danger, but they're alerted. So they stop grazing and they raise their head so they can hone in on their sensory awareness, which is their sight, their ears, and their smell. It's really the smell that's the strongest with horses. And that's a whole nother topic. And so they need to get their nose out of the grass, off the ground, to smell more than anything. And there is an electrical current through the equine nervous system, this is real, people, that gets charged, and it gets charged amongst all of them. It's a currency, not frequency. And so that is proven. That's as far as they've gotten, but it's all I need to absolutely validate and support how amazing working with horses using energy as the deepest level of connection to communicate and to be one is just mind-blowing. I mean, telepathically mind-blowing. To have your horse You know it. All you people out there that study my work, you're experiencing this or you've experienced it.
Absolutely.
That's part of that oneness. But that's the language of Equus. And that's what nobody teaches but me. You know, they're all, well, we're right here and that's the fact. It's not the fact. Just because that's as far as our research has gotten us in our scholastically, our universities are teaching behavior, it makes me want to puke. So I am so sick of people talking about that, you know, food's the highest motivation for horses. It's not. I think that's pretty black and white, scientifically proven. It is for dogs, for predators, but not for horses. And I could go on because it's such a, I mean, horses are non-linear. That's a prey mentality. Predators are linear. And you put those two things together and it totally changes the dynamic of the way horses behave, the way they think, the way they process. Do you have any questions?
No, just a lot of sharing, which you'll read.
Yeah, cool. So. Cool beans. You guys, you know, oh, maybe you don't. This is Q&A too. So please don't be afraid. There is no wrong question or dumb question at all. Anything that comes up, please just, that's why Sabrina's here. So
I think everybody just loves listening to you.
God, man, I'm hot today. I am pissed off about this bullshit. And so here I am, here we are, and my students included as ambassadors to this revolution, to changing it. And I do see the shift, the positive in my news feeds is I'm starting to see the shift, the spiritual shift, the consciousness, the mindfulness shifting, but we're still not there. We're stuck with this. Well, I'm all about positive reinforcement and the relationship. Well, how can you have a relationship with the horse when you're constantly using food to drive it and motivate it? And not only is it a short changer, a quick fix, it devalues you and it devalues the horse. So horses are so motivated always by companionship and relationship, always. I can't tell you, you know, I wish we had more time, Sabrina, and maybe that's something we're going to have to do. This year is a big promotional campaign. I mean, like I've said before, we have so much freaking content and we have a team now, but there's not enough. Yes. Love you girls. There's not enough time in the day. No. And so until this year's over, I don't know when we're going to have time to just kind of do filming around here for you guys. We try to include it in our YouTube videos where like I try to, whatever I'm teaching in that video, I try to include a lot of my horses so you can see how amazing the dynamic is with me included. And the point I'm making is any time of the day when my horses are being fed breakfast or lunch, we don't do dinner here because we have so much grass right now. We'll get back to dinner in the wintertime. Anytime I come into their space, they're all about me. They freaking leave their food or they poke their head up and want a kiss from me. They want a kiss from me. And my horses, as I mentioned in a lot of my podcasts and videos, they fight over me. Not that I don't want to be sick about that. I don't want them fighting over me. I'm honored that they love me, that they get jealous. They're very intelligent horses and possessive and all that. And you've got to monitor that. I don't want it getting crazy. I've had crazy. I have a bone bruise, a permanent bone bruise from Sundance and Zor getting into it and me getting in the middle of it. No, we don't want that. But I'm honored when my horses love me, care about me so much that I become one of their herd, their species. And they're every day. I mean, I don't train anymore. I don't train other people's horses. I don't train my own horses. Kind of took this whole year off, year and a half. It'll probably be close to 2 years by the time I get back into starting my baby horse and getting back with Lovey and Zor and maybe finishing Sundance a little bit, who's going to be 20. But every day that I spend with them supporting and nurturing, and we're going to talk about why this is so important, the relationship, we keep evolving. And we talk about that sometimes in the videos. Like I do a weekly video, whether I jump on Sundance or I jump on Zor or I jump on Lovey. It could be months that I haven't worked with them or ridden them. It doesn't matter. The relationship is always there. It's the strongest thing that keeps us connected, that keeps the horse considering me and thinking about me. We've already worked through a shitload of our triggers past, in the past. We've worked through and resolved so many of their acquired negative behaviors before they came to me. So the hard part's done. The foundation is there. And that's what I teach. The foundation is there. So let me get some science into why the relationship should be number one. And it is number one for all intelligent, emotionally and socially intelligent species. And that includes horses. Let me tell you why. And this is science. So what trainers out there are missing is the real science behind relationship training, which is what I'm all about. Bottom line, and this is science-based and proven in documented research, is that the relationship is most important to all species. Nurturing the relationship stimulates, this is why, nurturing the relationship stimulates cognitive development. There are so many articles written specifically on human psychology and behavior, where young children, young, from infants to I think before the age of 3, when they are not emotionally nurtured, their brain stops developing. Now, doesn't mean at that young of an age that they can't catch up. They can. Dr. Phil had an episode, you and I think, talked about this a year ago, had an episode on this. And so where I'm headed with this, so let's get back to nurturing the relationship stimulates cognitive development. This happens on many levels and deep within the hippocampus area of the horse's brain, which the hippocampus is specifically its major role. Specifically, it forms and constructs relational memory required for remembering arbitrary associations between objects or events, and flexible cognition and social behavior. Now, what are the functions of the hippocampus area? Being an integral part of the limbic system, hippocampus plays a vital role in regulating learning, memory encoding, memory consolidation, and spatial navigation. That's why horses are so amazing. There's so much more research because we have two sides to our brain. So do the horses. They act very differently. They take in information very differently. Horses' eyes do too. So, but the point being is horses are amazing at finding their way around and finding their way back home. So the limbic system is a set of structures in the brain that deal with emotions and memory. It regulates autonomic or endocrine function in response to emotional stimuli, and also is involved in reinforcing behavior. So we have the hippocampus area, we have the limbic system, and the one other area that I'm not going to be talking about is the amygdala. Starts with an A.
I'm German.
Yeah. It's like, she just said I played the fifth. I'm German. I love it. Yeah, don't you even try to pronounce that. I can spell it. I think it's AMAGYA, like LA or something. But those three areas of the brain are so important. And we still have so much more research to do with the equine, relating to how this functions in the equine brain. But I'm reading what's currently out there. So this is important to understanding training and how the horse processes information, retains it, and also how this shapes behavior. I brought all of this up because of the relationship, and most specifically how in my work, you are always working on the relationship and nurturing that through the work or the training or the development of your horse, but you're also working on specific techniques and exercises that develop the cognitive as well. And that is kind of the duality as well as the balance that we want to find in horse training, for the lack of a better word. We don't just want all relationship based, and we don't want all mechanics. And so often science-based, behavioral-based training, I don't care if it's positive, here's that buzzword, reinforcement, here, have a cookie. Or let me just give you a couple little pats on your head and show you that I care about you. That's not at all enough for a horse. It's not enough. But where I'm headed with that is it's still too mechanical. It's all mechanics. Horses actually groom each other. They dive in deep when they have close relationships and companionships. How many of you see that in your horses or don't see that? Because maybe your horse is boarded, they're not allowed to be out with other horses. But when you have a really healthy, happy herd or set of two horses that get along and really like each other, they don't automatically like each other either. That's a whole nother thing. So not all horses like each other just because they're horses. But when they do, man, they are playing, they are grooming, they are sharing space, they are grazing together, they are working together to resolve problems within the herd, to protect each other. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And then when you become part of that herd, then it affects you, right? Then they protect you, they care about you. You know, I was telling Sabrina, I love how one of my personal horses that we no longer work with, that was a rescue many, many years ago. And he went through a 6-month rehabilitation, Sabroso, my little Paso, 6-month rehabilitation back in 14. And then, I didn't have any students that were qualified to work with him at that level anymore. And I got way too busy in my training and clinics and traveling. So he sat and he sat and he sat, and he regressed because 6 months wasn't enough. He was a former, I have papers on him. I think I got him at the age of 10 or 11. 6 years ago, he was a former champion. And you guys, how many of you have heard what they do to Pasafinos in the show circuit? So this poor dude, like in the beginning, he'd be up against the back wall, he'd pin his ears, he was petrified, defensive. All he knew how to do was whatever the hell they do.
Yeah.
But we had eventually, in the 6 months with one of my apprentices, Caitlin, she was wonderful with him. She got him, I mean, we were on the buckle trail riding. But then again, like I said, he sat. And it wasn't enough time. And with major extreme behavior changes and trauma, it takes a long time, you guys, for a foundation, because you have to undo and remove all of those old associations. And 6 months, you can imagine, is not enough time for an older horse like that.
But he's doing so good.
Well, this is the point. This is really cool. Yes. So then we stayed away from him even when I had time because he got heaves. So now we moved to our farm now almost 2 years ago. And the first year, he had heaves again, and they were pretty bad. And, and I was like, oh crap, at this point, if it gets any bad, I talked to the vet. I said, I'm not gonna, he's a rescue. He's had a great life. I'm not gonna keep him alive. And I had that conversation with him. I always talk to my horses, and I had it for a while. I didn't just spring it on him. I'm like, Sabroso, I really want you to pull through, but nature's going to take its course. I'm going to give you just so much of what I can afford and help support your immune system. It really wasn't until we changed our feed, our complete feed. That's a whole nother discussion, our nutritional program for all the horses. He no longer has heaves, you guys. No, and he's older. He's 17 years old now. But the point I'm making is, just bringing them, because it's wet and humid, just bringing him in. He gets to come into this really fancy barn here and have a cool stall, he and Joey, and they're both my horses. It's just so cool because it's right across my office, and I get to engage with him frequently throughout the day that I haven't been doing for years. And that has changed so much. It's not about training all the time, is it? So it's like I go out this back alley here to let them out at the end of the day to the big 10-acre field to the other side of my property. And because Sabroso can be a little cranky, and
I was going to say,
yeah, I don't need him chasing down my old legend. And I've got 2 separate herds that all go together, like during the day, but at night I just have to be careful with Legend and his torn tendon and all that. So long story short, it's just beautiful to just, hey guys, come on out of your stalls, walk down the aisle with me and go to open the gate. I never have to worry about my horses running me down.
Mm-mm.
And,
No,
you know, both of them wait to get a kiss or a scratch or stand with me. Now they're also too fat. So they're locked up in these stalls with like a half a flake of coastal hut. They get a little bit of breakfast because this nutritional program is really good for their system. So they get that in their system in the morning. They don't get any hay until 3 hours later. They get a half a flake of hay. And then they wait another 3 hours because I'm trying to diet them and, you know, diet them, spend some time with them. And so they, you know, there's all grass out there. Gate is open. And those babies just want loving from me. They just want a kiss, a hug, a scratch. Sometimes I gotta take them out, get them out. And even when I've got my hyper lovey and baby who can't wait to go out with the big field and the big herd, and they've been running and they're bucking, and I'm like, come on guys, and they come running up to me, same thing. They're like, Mom, I so respect you. I'm not going to kick in your face or kick you. They're like, they've been running and the gate is open. And I'm like, okay, guys, remember, I'm a human. Just you kicking playfully and gleefully could kill me. God, they just stop. They come up. They walk quietly up to me. They've just been running. They're quiet. They want kisses. They take their time. They're real cautious. And they wait till they get 5 feet from me and they take off. It's like this all the time in everything we do, though. I mean, we talk all the time. We have conversations all the time. I definitely talk about it and call it what it is. It's telepathic at this level. So for all of you that want to learn how to talk and communicate with horses, like we hire all these people to communicate and tell us what we can hear and learn ourselves. We don't need to hire an animal communicator. If we just learn how to develop all those qualities within us that I teach in my spirituality course, which is part of my mastery membership, then you too can hear. I mean, where's Jen? Jen and I just had a conversation about this on the phone last night around dinner time. And I don't know if Jen's on this pod listening to.
She was here.
Oh God. Okay, good.
She left.
So if Jen comes back, and we were just talking about how, you know, she does this with her horse Deco. Deco used to be, you know, my horse, me and Chelsea, when we had the training program up in Pennsylvania before I moved to Florida. And then Jen and I got Deco back. He became her family, her daughter's horse, and they still have him. And so he's always, besides a 3-year away, he was brought up this way. He came back to this way. Jen knows this way, she and her girls and her family. And they know what's going on with Deco. And then the other people that are willing to be open or ready to be open see it at their boarding facility. And they remark on, wow, or at least the one lady did, Jen was telling me how she sees the level of communication. She's like, it's just so awesome how you always know what's going on with your horse, how you listen, he talks to you, not nickering, he does that too, but that they always know. It's just so cool. It's so cool. And Jen's just one of many. Do we have any questions?
We do.
Yay, what do we got?
We have Michelle Anthony. Does your level of energy differ between horse size, or is it more situational behavior that alters the amount of energy needed?
That's great, Michelle. So it is definite situational and individual. So it's not about size. And that's an interesting question. And I think that's another one of those myth busters. So if you've had some negative experiences with bigger horses, I mean, I've worked with every breed, every type you can imagine in every situation. So I'm a rehab and foundation specialist, which includes behavior. So a lot of the big horses are the people, the mindset that deal with them. And especially when I was up in Pennsylvania and Maryland, because of Lancaster, PA is sorry, I'm going to call it what it is. I'm going to socially profile for a reason. It's heavy with the Amish, and the Amish do not treat their horses well. I mean, the horse is just a means of transportation and agriculture and food. And so often they go through the horses and they sell them at the New Holland auction. And a lot of my clients were getting them because, oh, this is a big, beautiful for my husband. It used to pull, and oh, it's got to be fine. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. And then they have massive accidents on these horses. So I was either retraining them to be carriage horses, again, my way, no blinders, no bit, or I was retraining them to be a partner and a riding horse. And every one of those big, beautiful drafts was just petrified. And because they were so scared, they were horrible to handle. You were going to get run over because they were so beat all the time. And they were usually horrible when they were pinned in a stall. Even if you were just walking in the stall, they felt pinned. Horrible around farriers, horrible around everything. But it's that flight mechanism that was produced in them that then makes them dangerous. So I would love, Michelle, for you. I know there's a little bit of a delay when we're streaming like this. So by the time you hear my question, just, tell me a little bit more why you associated more energy with a bigger horse, because you can have a little tiny pony that can be a little Napoleon shit, and or donkey bossing the horses all around. So size has nothing to do with it, right? And especially with the language of Equus, it's energy. It's what you own. It's your presence. And it's also your follow through. And when horses are healthy and fair, when they're disciplining, and horses always choose positive, but when they have to do a negative reinforcement, a discipline, even teaching a baby, there's phases to it. And that's part of natural horsemanship. It's part of, you're adding on a phase. The first might be, body changes, body stance. Second might be ears pin, the typical, we get this. And the third might be they threaten to bite. And the fourth might be bigger, where they actually make contact. So, that's what I have to say about that. But yeah, if there's anything else you want to add or ask, yeah, the energy is very, it's used in a way that is specific to that horse and how it can help the horse learn, help the horse trust, help the horse feel safe, comfortable. I mean, energy is used in so many different ways, and it's a way to connect and communicate. It's not a way to control in a masterful way. Yeah, because when we get into free lunging and riding, we're not just riding we're not just working with our focus and our bodies, we're also working with energy, and energy becomes rhythm. So what's happening inside of you easily transfers over to your horse, whether it's on the ground or riding. So yeah, I mean, then it in a masterful way, it definitely becomes a way to connect, communicate, and control. Ask, hey, I need you, I'm taking the energy away, or I'm taking the rhythm, I'm changing the rhythm of the energy. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's really cool. It's to me, that's how you ride bridleless. I mean, when you're that synced up and aligned, plus the relationship, you gotta have that safety component, man. You gotta have that horse taking care of you and considering you. So before I answer any other questions, I just want to kind of review, because I've got to go soon. I've got the equine dentist actually coming for my 2-year-old.
Oh,
yeah, today. So I have
exciting.
I'll have to stop at 1:30.
One more question.
Okay, let's do another question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Lucila Swamp. Hi, I have polo horses and I will have a baby horse in a year. How can I manage a baby horse so that when grown up, it becomes a confidence horse? I'm sorry, she must be not from.
Yes, I love it. So I think, is it Cecilia? I think about the polo horses. Lucia. That's fine. Beautiful name.
Yes.
We don't want to butcher it, you or me. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're fine, babes. But yeah, so you have polo horses and you're having a baby. I get a lot of questions about babies. And so let's identify, let's think, and I always do this comparison, and I'm not anthropomorphizing, if that's the way to say it. I'm not projecting or transferring human emotions onto horses, but in my experience, and this is what I teach, Horses have similar, absolutely similar emotions. So we're going to think about your young baby horse as a young child. And often I tell my students, in your situation, when your mare is going to give birth, or you already have the young baby and you want to imprint it, I want you to draw upon your own personal experiences as a human, and both good and bad, when you were learning. What made you a confident learner, and what, if any, broke you and made you unconfident? Because you really have to put yourself in that perspective to give yourself the right mindset to understand that it can happen to the horse just as easily as it can happen to us. And it can happen as easily as a curse word, yelling. It doesn't have to be a physical hit. It can be an emotional level of trauma for the horse. If we are screaming at them, we yell at them, or they feel our frustration. And so you have to be really aware and sensitive of that. And so with a young horse, if you want to keep them confident, you first have to just be really aware. This is the first step. Be really aware of how you show up, and show up on a regular, consistent basis as a positive association for that young horse. But you also have to have a balance of love and leadership. Always, when you're working with children and horses, dogs, I love you, it's unconditional, but I have boundaries. This is what's acceptable behavior. This is what's not acceptable. And like mama horse, I'm going to show you consistently, repetitiously, what my warning is. And then I'm going to add to that. And I'm adding to see how far I have to go or not until you get it. Because everybody's an individual, and horses have their own sensitivity levels, different sensitivity levels. Some horses, you can just give them a look and they're like, oh my God, okay. Another horse, you might have to go, hey, knock it off. Thank you. And that was just to get their attention. Take the energy away. Don't hold on to it. You got their attention. Now have the conversation. No. Back up. You don't get to jump on top of me, which is so typical of the young babies, especially the boys. It's just biting and jumping is going to happen even when you cut them. It's just part of being a boy. So not just a colt or a stallion. So yeah, you have to think about how you show up. And honestly, people, it's not easy. No. Horses are so emotionally complicated. You need a training system. And, my mastery membership program is for beginner riders. It is for beginning horses, and it is for restarting and rehabilitating. Awesome. And it gives you the foundation for mastery. It gives you the biomechanics, the emotional foundation and the physical foundation to develop the movement, so that even if you just want to trail ride, that your horse becomes a professional athlete. I think that's the biggest thing people miss, is they only have so much time a week or in the day or whatever, and they think they can just jump on these horses. And you've got to prepare them as an athlete. They may be talented, but that talent only lasts so many seconds, and they don't run around and do all these magical movements every day and for hours. You're going to destroy them. Yeah. Going to destroy them. So there's so much to think about. And that's why I developed the program, so that it is a beautiful guide. It is a holistic guide on how to develop you and this young horse in relationship, love, and leadership. And
that's for any
horse, any riding, anything, because it gives you the foundation to. Because I've done it all. My horses, Smokey's passed away now, but Smokey was my versatility horse. Reining, cow, dressage, oh my God. Just some light hunter jumping, trail ride, swim, you name it. And so when you look at his videos, Smokey's in most of my videos, in my old programs and on YouTube, when you look at him, I called him my carousel horse. I got him, my quarter horse, so collected in the hind end that you just watch him slow motion in the videos, cantering around me like a carousel. At Liberty or riding.
Sunday, same way though.
We're getting there. It's that one pelvis. I never want to, she's never been lame, but that right pelvis, I let her tell me, after stretching, we got to really stretch. I let her tell me. Yeah, that was something. I did a video. Dee Dee came down last night when I was feeding Lay, his senior Din Din, and putting the chickens away. Dee Dee's my 14-year-old cat. And so Jen and I were still on the phone last night, like, and it was rainy, and I was down here like at 7:30, and Dee Dee comes down in the rain, just light rain, and there's Sundance coming in the stall. But I filmed them, so the girls, they haven't, and Ellie loves Legend. Legend was her first love and her first horse that she ever worked with, and that's Jen's oldest daughter. And then Nadia loves Sundance, and Jen loves Dee Dee. So I was filming the three of them because they look so damn good. So Legend's 27 and Sundance is 20, 19 or 20, and the muscling on her, I don't do anything with her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, besides
totally
being
agree.
stiff, and you know how I have to really stretch her out.
She looks amazing.
That foundation is there, guys. So as a professional athlete, my horses, like us, you never forget, like a dancer. You start out as a dancer, you are always moving like that. You always keep, exercising.
Yeah. You always define the dancers because they're always so great.
You can.
Everything they do. You're like,
you can. Yeah,
yes,
their posture,
so,
everything is fantastic.
Same goes with the
So before we wrap up, you guys, thank you. And please feel free to email me. You can go to dowdhorsemanship.com. Email me with any questions. I get emails all the time. We're starting to get a lot more from the podcast, which is really exciting. I wanted to talk about one of my foundation courses, and it really is the foundation course itself, and it has so much to do with what we've been talking about, and it is the glue, as I call it, that binds everything in my method and gets you to the level of riding. Oh my God, yes, it does. I'm going to read about it a little bit. It's discovering the spirituality of horsemanship through the art of liberty training. And while this is its own course, and it's not just liberty training, we also get into the biomechanics and my various styles of lunging, straightness for balance and collection and self-carriage. I call it Pilates for horses. So while you are developing the energy component of my work and yourself in this course, you're also developing this way of being with your horse and developing the whole holistic aspect. And this is the first course of my mastery membership. And it's important because we always want to develop this before we ride. So let me read a little bit about it, and we'll put a link to it when we get the title up for this podcast after we're done. So the spirituality course is the first course in my mastery membership and foundation of my training method. It's a single course sold separately, and it's also included in the mastery membership. It is the glue that binds everything between the horse and human as a team, meaning the glue is about the relationship. And without it, my training in personal horse-human development will not work. This is what makes this course and my method so unique and positively transformative. Without the glue, the level of intuitive sensitivity and relationship development training will become mechanical. And we don't want mechanics. Mechanical learning is without feeling and thinking, cognitive development. And that's why I don't like treats, clicker training, or verbal commands. It becomes mechanical, you guys. It is basically another way of saying it's a conditioned response that becomes a physical muscle memory, but it's not on a deeper somatic level. And you need to have it on a deeper somatic level to have the level of safety that my work produces. As I always say, I don't ride without a helmet and a bit and in a bareback pad because I am being cocky or arrogant or a show off. I do it constantly because it feels amazing to have that with your horse, and also to prove and show to all of you that it is possible, and to just keep pioneering with that mindset. Okay, keep pioneering. I can't afford to have another head injury due to all the prior head injuries when I was a child in my early riding. I can't afford it, you guys. I've already seen x-rays of my neck and my spine. And, you know, the good thing about getting older, the number one thing I like to say is you become wiser, hopefully. So, you know, I take my time. The work also teaches you to really develop your awareness skills and take your time. And that is also what develops confidence in your horse. So we need feeling and thinking to develop a strong, solid, and safe working relationship and riding foundation. You will be doing both in my course and in my program, developing a depth of relationship holistically while developing your horse's cognitive abilities, their ability to think, respond, stay connected, and in some instances, problem solve. This means your horse will choose you first and before they react or overreact. Yes, that's right. Developing emotional and mental agility is a game changer and what develops both horse and human as one in mind, movement, and heart connection. It is also the secret to being safe with horses, my secret. In addition to developing the relationship and partnership you want and need with your horse, this course also teaches you about biomechanics. The lunging lessons train your eyes so you understand what correct movement should look like, while also teaching you the building blocks to developing balance and collection in your horse's movement. And as I often say, you want to develop the movement first before you ride the movement. So often, most of our riding problems with our horses or accidents are because we have not developed the movement in our horse. Our horse is not ready to do what we've asked them to do. And that's not all. You will also be learning how to ride. Yes, that's correct. While this course is not a riding course, it doesn't have riding lessons in it like the Mastery Membership. The lessons on energy awareness and embodiment of energy teach you how to ride from the inside, as the great Mary Wanless teaches. Ride from the inside, harnessing the rhythm of your horse's footfall so you can align and synchronize in movement together. You learn all of that on the ground. First at the walk, then the different transitions of the walk, the half halts, the trots, different transitions, back down, back up. And before you know it, you keep playing with all of that, and then you've got a collected canter. It's amazing. And then you build from there. And that's, yes. Okay, so no more chasing your horse around or forcing them with the lunge whip to move. You'll be learning how to teach your horse to tune in, trust, and follow your love and leadership as you develop all of these skills together. And we do use a lunge whip, and the lunge whip is used as an extension of you for many different reasons, as well as to guide the body, guide the footfall. Again, it's Pilates. So you need to keep helping the horse lengthen and strengthen. I highly recommend, this is also, we also include the weekly Mastery Membership private Facebook group. They have a private Facebook just for the Mastery Membership, but I include all of our weekly live webinars in the spirituality course too, because the spirituality is so important. And yeah, so you guys, you have so much additional guidance. You've got reading materials in the spirituality course, also in the Master Membership. You've got practice guides, tutorials, and then these webinars, which can last from an hour and a half to 2 hours every week. And we dive in deep. So anyway, we're going to leave all that information, or at least the link. And I hope you guys join. In either case, for the course or the program, you can do a monthly subscription. That's lifetime too. And so in a year, you own it, or you can pay all up front. So I hope to see you guys, at least next week's podcast. Please share and let people know. And we're always looking for questions, and we're starting to get a few here and there, not just on the live streaming, but also you guys can send in your questions ahead of time. All right. Got anything else, girl?
This is a lifetime course and the best part of my life.
Oh, who's
Linda
that?
said that.
Oh, Lydia?
Linda.
Linda did. Thank you, Linda.
Sorry, it just kind of jumped at me.
Yeah, there's one of our students. And yep. So, I mean, we'll start adding some of the comments that we get Oh my gosh, every week we get beautiful
They
comments.
do. Thank you.
Yep, from the students. So that's part of what we're going to be adding starting next week too, is just letting you guys see what other people are writing, what they're experiencing. It's life-changing. It's life-changing. It's just amazing. And I love being a part of it. I can't ever, even though all of my courses right now are self-study, because I don't have a guide, I don't have time for a guided course yet. This is a way for me to help guide you guys, and give back, because this is my life's purpose. I love this stuff. And we're always learning, it's not just an 8-week course and you're done. And that's it. You achieved X, Y, and Z. I mean, I'm opening Pandora's box with my stuff. It just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper inside the actual course or program. It's really cool. I love that. I love to learn. So there you go. You guys are getting it. If you like to learn, you are in the right place. All right, got to go and get my baby ready for the dentist. He's got jacked up teeth. I haven't seen this in my other babies.
Oh, no.
I know he's got, they lose their teeth. They shed, as they call it. They shed their top and lower teeth once a year for 5 years. But this is jacked up.
Oh, wow.
And he's got one down here now. So see, I'm getting my teeth fixed.
Yes.
We're getting there.
Good.
We're getting there. And I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know. You can't put braces on a horse or Invisalign like I have.
Never know what they come up with.
No, I couldn't afford it. Could you imagine? You couldn't do that. So I don't know what she's gonna say. So stay tuned for next week.
Yeah, a lot of exciting things happening next week.
I know. All right, you guys. Bless you. Stay safe, sane. May you always be one with your horse. Love you guys. See you next week. And thank you.